Okay, so this is the voltage meter with Arduino. So let's go into the code here. So we're going to start here, set an int LED at 13, that's going to be for our LED pin. Int, set it to voltage in, and that's going to be our AO pin, that's our analog read input that we're going to take from there. We designate a float as VRead, set that to 0, that's all pre-set up. Moving into the setup, we have our pin mode, LED, pin 13 as our output. Pin mode, AO, analog as an input. And then we begin the serial monitor at the correct baud rate. Setting our function, this is the same function as the flash functions that I've done before. So set as flash, as on time, off time, that's going to flash, and we'll use that function in the loop. So going here into the loop, we're going to have VRead as our analog read from the AO pin, the analog pin. We're going to do another float, and that is going to be our voltage calculation. So we're going to take volt, it's going to be VRead times 5, because that's our max voltage there, and divide that by 1023. What that's going to do is, so if we get some sort of fraction of 1023, that's what we're going to be doing with the analog read, and we're going to multiply that by 5 to get what our actual value of the voltage is. So I hope that makes sense. Serial print, we're going to say the voltage is equal to, and then we have our if statements here. This would have been really cool to do a switch case scenario, but you know, it wasn't enough statements to justify doing a switch case scenario in my mind, because I was feeling rather lazy. So if you go to if the voltage is greater than 4.5, then we are going to write the LED pin high. We're going to turn it on, and then we're going to print what the voltage is. Else if the voltage is greater than 2 and less than 4.5, then we're going to do a little bit of a blinking flash and then also print the voltage. And then just straight else, we're going to go low. We're going to turn that pin off, and we're still going to print the voltage. So anything below 2 volts is just going to be off. Between 2 and 4.5, it's going to blink. Above 4.5, it's just going to be on. Okay, cool. So as far as the, maybe it's down here. As far as the actual flashing, I don't know. I'm not that interested in what the LED pin is actually doing. That just didn't seem that interesting to me. I'm more interested in whether it's reading the correct voltage and printing it to the serial monitor, because that's fun. So let's go here. All right. So we have here ground hooked up to ground terminal, or the ground lane on our breadboard. Ignore the switch. It's stuck, and I didn't really want to bother to remove it, so I just left it. Now we have AO pin, that's going to be our input, going to this lane on the breadboard. So that's where we're going to tag in our whatever voltage we're reading. This is pretty cool. So if you don't have a pull down resistor, what this will do is, say you put in like 4 volts, it'll say 4 volts, and then you unplug whatever voltage you just plugged in, and then it'll go 4 volts, 3 volts, 2 volts. It'll slowly go down, but it'll be floating with that voltage for a minute, so it'll be acting all sorts of wonky. The pull down resistor makes it so it like immediately takes the change to whatever voltage you have. So if I put in like a 4.5 volts and then I take that voltage source off, it immediately goes to 0. So that was cool. So from there, that's grounded on that terminal just for the resistor. I'm probably just going to ground all the lines, all the sources I plug in through this lane here and then into here. Okay, and then what I have is I actually have several different batteries. I have AAA battery, so that's going to be about, we're going to expect 1.5. I have a AA batteries wired up in series, so we're going to expect a little over 4.5. And then we have a 123 battery. This is about 3 volts. And then we have a little LiPo battery pack here. That's about 3.7. So I'm going to plug these all in and see what it reads, because that's more fun. So Alright, so I'm going to plug in this little guy. I don't know if it matters. I don't think it's going to matter whether I do ground or power first. But if you ever do... Oh no, that pin broke. Oh, I'd have a different kind of pin there. Never mind. Okay. So, forget the AAA. I plugged in the wrong kind of connector. So, we'll do the AA. Okay. AA. Power in. And then we're going to do our ground. Okay. And we're seeing that, or sorry, that was a 123 battery. So that should be actually about 3 volts. And that hits about the range that we're looking for, between 2 and 4.5. So it's going to be flashing. And if we go over here, let me stop the auto scroll. 2.45, so, or 2.85. It's a little discharged. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll just plug it out and you'll see how fast it actually responds with the pull down resistor. Right to 0. Sweet. Now, let's do the little LiPo battery. That's this little guy. And we're gonna have power there, and then our ground. There. So, what do we got now? 3.83, cool. Let me see if I can stop the auto scroll. 3.83. Neato. Unplug it. Right to 0. Alright. And then we have our little AA in series. So, AA batteries, 1.5 volts each. In series, we should be 4.5, but if you know, they're fresh batteries, it'll be a little bit higher than that. 4.83. That's cool. So the important thing on this one is to designate the voltage as a floating number. If we just do an integer, we just be getting 4. So now let's unplug it and go back to auto scroll. Give me the freshest. Right to 0. Okay, cool. So what I'll do, I'll actually leave auto scroll on, and I'm going to plug this back in and take off the pull down resistor so you can see how it responds. Okay, so 4.83 pins on because it's over 4.5. So that's cool. And then we're just going to go and pull out this pull down resistor. Just unplug it. Okay, 4.83. Now let's unplug the 4.5 volts. You can see it's like going all sorts of wonky voltages all over the place. This thing is flashing and should be working its way down slowly. Maybe not. 4.67. 3.85. So it's going to be doing its thing for a while. It seems to be holding that voltage. 5? Interesting. Didn't expect that. It's all sorts of wonky here. Alright, let's ground this resistor and just make it pull it down. There we go. And then back to 0. So, that's cool. That's fun. And LED pin is off. So, there's that. That's the voltage meter assignment. Thanks for watching.